Okay, so in this video, I want to talk about the top 3 things to focus on to get rid of depersonalization. So, when you have depersonalization, there's usually 2 things that most people talk about on the internet or on depersonalization forums or Facebook groups, which is getting rid of trauma and then also focusing on your health. Now, getting rid of trauma is a very long process that can take up to years to resolve trauma. And I think that this is a very slow way of recovering from depersonalization. And a lot of people overlook the health aspect of DP. Now, this video is going to be for people that have severe depersonalization, people that have had it for more than, I don't know, more than a year, more than 2-3 years. Then this video is for you, because I had DP from the time I was 14 years old to the time I was 21. So that's 7 years of depersonalization. And it would vary in intensity. So sometimes I would have it a little bit less, and then sometimes I would have DP a little bit more intensely. So basically, here are the 3 things that I focus on to get rid of DP and get rid of anxiety. The first thing you want to focus on is your sleep. Your sleep, you need to be going to sleep at 8 p.m., 9 p.m. at the latest, and then waking up whenever your body decides to wake up. So that may be, 7 a.m., 6 a.m., 8 a.m. Obviously, some people have to work, so you have to wake up earlier, but you should be in bed as early as possible. Basically, as the sun starts to go down, you should also be getting ready for bed. And then you should be rising as the sun comes up. You should be waking up. The second thing you want to focus on is diet. Diet is so important for curing DP, because depersonalization is a symptom of an anxiety disorder. So if you've had DP for longer than 6 months, you probably also have something called GAD, which is called generalized anxiety disorder, and it's usually diagnosed after having 6 months of constant anxiety. You know, the type of anxiety that doesn't really go away. It's very different from situational anxiety, which would happen when, a certain stressful situation happens, like maybe a test or something like that. The type of diet that I recommend that cured me of my depersonalization is a high carb, low fat vegan diet. And it's very, very important to get enough calories on this diet. I see this happen so many times where people always undereat on a vegan diet, because when they first think of vegan diet, they think I have to eat salads and vegetables, when in reality what you should be eating is a lot of starchy foods and a lot of sugar in like smoothies and maybe juices, not candy, not chocolate, not donuts, not cookies, not cake. I'm talking about starchy foods cooked with no oil. So that's things like white rice, brown rice, beans, lentils, potatoes, pasta, corn, tortillas. In Africa, you could eat ugali, or they also call it mealie pop. What else? Right off the top of my head, barley, bread. You want to eat these foods, and you want to make sure that they're made with no oil. If you want to learn how to make food with no oil, you can check out the other videos on my channel. So that's super important. And why is it important to eat a high carb, low fat vegan diet? Well, it's because this kind of diet optimizes your ability to create serotonin. It optimizes your ability to store glucose or glycogen in your muscles. And glucose is the #1 fuel source for your brain. So if you want to have an efficient fuel source for your brain, you should be eating a lot of carbohydrates. So your diet should be an 80-10-10 style diet. You can also Google this stuff. 80-10-10 basically means that 80% of your daily calories is coming from carbohydrates, 10% is coming from fat and 10% is coming from protein. If you have trouble with this, learn how to track your calories and track your macros. You can find beginner style videos on YouTube on how to track calories. Okay. You can also find meal prep or meal recipe ideas on YouTube. Just type in high carb, low fat, vegan diet recipes or something like that. The third thing is hydration. It's very important to always stay hydrated so that the carbs that you are eating on the diet are absorbed into the muscles and can be used as fuel throughout the day. So what you want to do is right when you wake up, you want to have a liter of water. It should be 30 minutes before your first meal, and then you should have, so that's going to be when you first wake up, and you should also have a liter of water before each meal. After that, 30 minutes before the meal. So you should be having around 3 liters of water a day minimum. That's kind of like a baseline. But if you do a lot of activity, if you do a lot of sports or like to go on runs, obviously you're going to be drinking more water. And I guess one other tip that I could give is B12 supplementation. Now, I do use B12 injections, which I get shipped to me from Canada. It's the only proven way and scientifically studied and backed by scientific studies. It's the only way to actually elevate your blood levels of B12. Oral vitamins can work as well, but they have not been studied rigorously. They haven't gone through experiments or been studied. So I don't know about how well those work, but I do use B12 injections. Other than that, that's just a really quick video on how to get started with recovery. Like I said, if you have any questions about some of this stuff, try Googling first. If you're thinking like, what is this or what can I eat? Like I said, go ahead and Google high carb, low fat foods or high carb, low fat recipes on Google and on YouTube. You're going to be you can eat all kinds of food, Indian food, Caribbean food, you can eat Italian food, Mexican food, that's all I could think of off the top of my head. But there are a lot of ways to make high carb, low fat vegan foods that are tasty. So if you guys had any questions on this video, just go ahead and put a comment below and I'll get back to you. And let me know what other kind of videos you guys want to see. Thanks. Peace.